Hi, everybody. Good afternoon. Sarah Springer here, broker owner of Pathways Realty. I welcome you to this video chat session that I'm going to be having with Robert Barnett today. He is a loan officer here in Tallahassee, Florida with Loan Depot. We're going to be talking about some relevant topics under our current times with COVID-19, how we are coping and continuing to try and do business as usual. There's some good news, there's some not so good news, but most of it's very positive, and just hopefully this will be a very informative set of videos to just give you some information about what's going on currently, how things are being handled, and what good there is that you can do and know about here, especially with reduced interest rates that we're enjoying currently. So stay tuned. I hope these videos are helpful and insightful to you. And if you have any questions, our contact information will be shown below in the video feed. So today we're going to be covering a few different topics, and we'll break these up into a few different segments and try and keep it short and sweet, but full of good pertinent information for you. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we hope what we're going to share with you today will be insightful, educational, and beneficial to you. Take care. So everybody, we are here today. I've got Robert Barnett with me with Loan Depot here in Tallahassee, also available nationally. So feel free to give him a call. His contact information is at the bottom of the screen. I'm Sarah Springer, broker owner of Pathways Realty, and we are just going to be here today, hopefully for your benefit. Robert, I called you last week wondering what you were experiencing, because I had the first unfortunate circumstance of a closing not closing because the buyer found out the Monday of the week that they were to close that they were furloughed until further notice. So in talking with you, that's kind of the can't really go much further, but I know that you mentioned there are some other things that are going on and relating to that. So what are you seeing?
Well, we're definitely seeing some loan application fallout as a result of either individuals unfortunately getting terminated from their employment or being furloughed. If it's a situation where it is a job termination, we do first of all do try to see if there's another person on the application. We do try to see if we can qualify the other person by themselves, so that we can continue on and keep the purchase going. But in some of those instances, we do have to just go ahead and terminate the application and the loan process for the time being, and look at other alternatives. If an individual is furloughed, we do try to see if there's a possibility to just extend out the closing, see if there's any type of lease to purchase options, working with the real estate agents to try to overcome those circumstances.
So have you heard anything about if a buyer is furloughed, but the company is able to provide them a letter saying, here's your start back date? Are you able to progress forward with underwriting and closing the loan, knowing that there's a date certain that they're going to return to work?
In those instances, we unfortunately do need to make sure that they have actually returned back to work,
Okay.
and that we can get a verification of employment from their employer confirming that they've returned back to work. And normally that does still need to be done prior to the full underwriting approval. So once they do go back to work, it may still be a week or two out from when we can actually proceed to close.
Now, I do remember you mentioning that there's been a little bit of change with how you're doing verification of employment versus it was a little bit more stringent, and now maybe things might be a little easier.
That is correct. So previously, we always had to do a verification of employment within 10 days prior to closing. And that usually had to be at least a verbal verification of employment. There are a lot of companies that we can electronically access the verification of employment and income. And so if we can go through that process, again, and still get the information, we can go through that way. But in many instances, especially smaller businesses, the office may be closed, HR people may not be available via phone, but what we can do is an email verification of employment. As long as we can verify the source of the email, we can use that in lieu of the standard verbal verification.
Okay, great. So what I'm hearing is the good news is that you are still cranking and still working, and the lending world is still being able to function, but there are some challenges such as these with people who are temporarily unemployed or furloughed that could halt the process. And then that situation, it has to be handled at a case by case basis where maybe we can extend the contract or maybe the contract needs to be terminated.
That's correct, yes.